Next, continuing further, okay. So now here in diamagnetic materials, okay, right? I told you first property is no atomic dipoles here because of paired electrons, no atomic dipoles. So there will be no atomic dipoles, so no alignment with magnetic field, okay, no alignment with magnetic field. Now what will happen is, okay, only induced dipole moment will be there, okay, only induced dipoles will be present, okay, only induced dipoles will be present, okay. Now as a result, okay, as a result what will happen is, so here you are applying some external magnetic field beamer. So now I told you in induction will dipole moment will be opposite. So this side there will be north pole and this side this is south pole indirectly. Okay, induced dipole moment will be opposite. Okay, so in the material, okay, dipoles, okay, in the material dipoles will be aligned opposite. Okay, because of induction, this is kind of related to internal thing I bar. Okay, so my point is, okay, my point is it is internal. Now here your applied, this is your applied thing. So applied magnetic field, if it is this way, indirectly kind of this is north pole and this is south pole, right? Your applied magnetic field if is this way, probably if it is causing because of some bar magnet, what will happen? This side you will have south pole and this side this will be north pole. So as a result you will have repulsion. Okay, repulsion. Diamagnetic substances are repelled. Okay, so there will be repulsion, but it is very weak. Okay, so here I want you to understand the properties. No dipoles. Okay, weak repulsion, that too there will be, it is very weak. Okay, chi value I have told you it is very much less than 1 and it is negative. Mu relative slightly less than 1. Okay, only this they will ask. Okay, this is like slightly less than 1. Okay, right? Okay, so these are basic things. Okay, and next important is magnet moves from, okay, magnet moves from, because of repulsion, from where to where it will move means, okay, strong B bar region to weak B bar region. Okay, strong B bar region to weak B bar region. Okay, because in the direction of field, okay, I mean in non-uniform field, okay, this will happen in non-uniform field. Okay, in non-uniform B bar. Uniform B bar it will be in equilibrium eventually later, but in non-uniform magnetic field this is what is going to happen. Okay, right? And your mu r value anyhow it is less than 1. Okay, so because x is very much less than 1, your mu r is 1 plus chi, so it is less than 1. Okay, so these properties you are supposed to remember. Okay, next let's continue further. Now if you take magnetic field lines, you will see these properties only. Okay, now here you will have diagram. Okay, so now here what will happen is magnetic field lines, okay, mu r is nothing but your ability to allow, okay, mu is what? Ability to, in electrostatics I have defined, epsilon is electric permittivity of medium, that is how much permission it is giving to allow electric field line. Similarly magnetic permeability means how much permission it is giving for magnetic field lines. Okay, so ability to allow magnetic field lines. Okay, Now here if you take mu r is 1 plus chi is negative, so that means your mu r is indirectly less than 1. So that means, okay, in a region if three lines are trying to come here, okay, the edge lines will try to go through the go away from this, okay. So inside the material, okay, this is your, this is your diamagnetic materials. Okay, diamagnetic material, what it will do is it will try to allow lesser number of field lines, okay, less number of field lines. While trying to enter, three lines are trying to enter here, but only one is going, remaining is going out. Okay, so it is slightly less than 1. Okay, getting my point? So that field lines are reducing. Okay, right? So for this basic examples, you can write nitrogen, water, H2O, NaCl, Cu. Chemistry, you will study all this stuff. Okay, let's not waste time. Okay, right? So now remember that your I bar is minus H. This is another important point. Okay, it is opposite. Okay, your I bar is minus of H bar. This is your external applied. To what extent material magnetizes? Okay, this is external magnetic thing. This is internal induced thing. Okay, so it is opposite. Okay, internally induced one is opposite. Okay, so take screenshot or note down the notes. Okay, these points you must study at any cost. You should not forget. You should not lose this information. Okay, right? So anyhow, I will tabulate these things once again, but just remember this. Now here, okay, I have been telling you your B resultant is like kind of B induced plus B applied. I have been telling you the term related to this is mu into H. The term related to this is your I bar. I have been telling you. Okay, term related to this is H bar, term related to this is I bar. This is internal, this is related to external thing. Okay, if you have watched my previous lecture, you must have understood by this time this internal and external thing. Okay, so your H bar is to what extent your material will magnetize, and I bar is to what extent it is getting induced because of the external magnetic field. Okay, right? So two things, this is kind of related to alignment of dipoles. Okay, this is alignment of dipoles, and this is related to applied, how much it is getting actually induced. This I have been telling you. Okay, this is kind of induced thing. I have been telling you these things very clearly. Okay, right? Now, okay, keep these points in mind. Okay, right? So let me give recap. So no atomic dipoles, this you remember, and it is in opposite direction. These dipoles, induced dipoles, are in opposite direction. Those two key points if you remember, my job is done. Okay, right? Next is your paramagnetism. Now coming to your paramagnetism, okay, your para and ferro, I told you it is because of unpaired electrons. Okay, so ultimately it is because of unpaired electrons you will classify. In chemistry this you will study anyhow. Okay, now here initially if you take paramagnetic materials, okay, atomic dipoles, if you take atomic dipole moment, okay, atomic dipole moment, in diamagnetic it is 0, but here it is not equal to 0 because unpaired electrons will cause some atomic dipole moment. Okay, so initially they will be in some random direction like this. Overall net magnetic moment of, okay, material it is 0, but each atom it is not 0. Okay, this atomic dipole moment for each atom if you take it is not 0, but overall it will cancel off. Okay, right? Overall it will cancel off. Okay, so sodium if you take, okay, 11, if you write the electronic configuration, okay, you will have 2 2 6 and 1 unpaired electron will be there. This I have shown to you for sodium previously. So my point is atomic dipoles are there, but overall it is initially 0. Okay, without magnetic field for substance, okay, that is some, if you take some 1 millimeter cube volume, okay, your net is 0, but each it is not 0. Each is not 0, but net is 0 for that. Okay, each it is not 0. Okay, right, overall it is 0. Okay, your net is for overall it is 0, overall in a region. Now, okay, what will happen is, okay, upon application of external magnetic field, okay, what is that I am doing? I am applying external magnetic field. Upon application of external magnetic field, okay, upon application of external magnetic field, what will happen? I will tell you. Previously in no dipoles, in diamagnetic materials, no dipoles, so no alignment, but now only no alignment, only induction. Okay, only induced dipoles are there, but here both will be there. Okay, here both will be there. So upon application of external magnetic field, what will happen is all dipoles, because of torque, okay, will orient, okay, will orient in direction of, okay, applied magnetic field. Okay, that is external magnetic field. So my point is, initially if you take these field lines like this, okay, your dipoles randomly oriented like this, okay, but later what will happen is, okay, okay, because of the magnetic field, okay, they will orient themselves, okay, they will orient themselves perfectly because of the torque. They will orient themselves, okay, like this. Okay, so before your B bar is 0, your net magnetic moment is 0. Now net magnetic moment is not equal to 0. Indirectly material got magnetized. Material is magnetized. Okay, your material will get magnetized. Okay, now, okay, you increase B bar, okay, you can increase this magnetism by, okay, you can increase this magnetism by increasing magnetic field and decreasing temperature. If you decrease temperature, what will happen is, okay, thermal vibration, okay, thermal vibration decreases. If you decrease temperature, magnetism will increase. If you increase temperature, magnetism will decrease. Okay, in the first lecture I have told you very clearly that you can remove the magnetism of a magnet by hammering. You take a hammer and hit it with it, your magnet will lose its strength. Or you heat the magnet, if you heat it, still it will, okay, it will lose its magnetic power. Okay, so if you take your tape record speakers or any gadgets and remove the speaker out of it, and if you heat it, it will lose its power. Okay, so you should not do that. Okay, you should not increase the temperature, you should decrease the temperature. Okay, right, now your material will get magnetized. So paramagnetic material, it is easy to get magnetized. Okay, so example for paramagnetism, all unpaired ones. Okay, right, we will study in detail once again, but example aluminum, O2, calcium, sodium, like this are the examples. Okay, right, hope you have understood and there are no doubts. Okay, right, so next, continuing further, okay, take screenshot, remember these points. Okay, so quick summary of what I have discussed in para, I'll write. Okay, so if I start writing, point number 1, atomic dipoles will exist. Okay, atomic dipoles exist. Okay, next, now we forgot this point. I'll tell you. So it is attracted. Okay, it is attracted in external magnetic field. Why attraction? I will tell you. Now already your external B bar, if it is this way, okay, your dipoles, if they are arranging, okay, inside the material, if your dipoles are getting arranged this way, indirectly your north pole of this induced thing, south pole, north pole this way, your external magnets, this B bar is coming, probably if it is coming because of some external magnet like this north pole and south pole, if you look, they are close to each other. This north pole and south pole, as a result there is attraction. Okay, so closer to north pole you have south pole, so that is why there will be attraction. Okay, and your chi value is small and positive. Okay, in the first screen itself I have told you. So obviously your mu relative is 1 plus chi, but it is, okay, mu relative is slightly greater than 1. Okay, slightly greater than 1. Okay, right? Next, okay, in non-uniform magnetic field, okay, all these points I am trying to elaborate. In non-uniform B bar, okay, it moves from, okay, it moves from, in the direction of field, potential will drop. Here there is attraction, so it is moving from where to where means weak to strong region. Okay, if it is moving opposite to field, obviously it is moving from weaker region to stronger region, right? If there is attraction, obviously what is it indicating? Your magnet is coming close. If magnet is coming close, B will increase, no? So if B increases, automatically it is coming from weaker to stronger region. Okay, right? Now if you try to represent this in terms of field lines here, okay, your field lines will be more, your mu r is greater than 1, slightly greater than 1, right? So as a result, it will try to send in more number of field lines like this. It will try to send in more number of field lines like this. Okay, right? It will try to send in more number of field lines. Okay, like this, more number of field lines will be entering this way. Okay, right? So because mu r is greater than 1, if 100 are coming, it will 101 will go through the material. Okay, right? And your I is equal to chi into h, your I bar is, okay, there, chi into h bar is there. Now it is not negative, this is positive. Okay, right? Now there is some important law here. Okay, I will explain that. This story you have to remember. Okay, now trust me, this topic is purely information oriented topic. You will not remember this, just write down and mug it up. That's all. That's what I suggest. Okay, to my students, don't start scratching your head too much. All this is information. Okay, right? I am telling you certain topics you have to take information. That's all. Okay, if your name is X, if I question why did your parents keep only X, why not some monkey, donkey, pig, if I say that, okay, it is like a bad thing. I should not do that and you should not do that. Okay, so scientists have given information, you just take it. Okay, don't cross question this. Okay, now here I will discuss some important part, which is your Curie's law. Okay, Curie's law is there and Curie-Weiss law is there. Okay, both are there. Okay, so Curie's law and Curie-Weiss law I will tell you. So now Curie's law is mostly defined for which materials, means it is defined for, okay, mostly for paramagnetic materials. For diamagnetic materials we don't define Curie's law. So Curie's law is different, Curie-Weiss law is different. So Curie's law, first I will talk about it. Okay, so Curie's law for paramagnetic materials I will tell you. Okay, Curie-Weiss law is for, okay, ferromagnetic materials. Okay, Curie-Weiss law is for ferromagnetic materials. Okay, so for paramagnetic materials, Curie's law. What is this Curie's law? I will tell you. Okay, now here, upon increasing temperature, okay, upon increasing temperature, okay, what will happen? Magnetism decreases. Okay, right? This we have seen. Why? Your vibration, okay, vibration increases. Vibration increases, dipole arrangement will get disturbed. Okay, atomic dipoles arrangement will get disturbed. Okay, atomic dipoles arrangement disturbs. Okay, atomic dipoles arrangement will get disturbs. Okay, it will get disturbed. So now this Curie's law, okay, this Curie's law, okay, now what it says is, okay, Curie's law, what it says is, your I is equal to some V naught applied external magnetic field into some C by T. The C is some constant. But what is I? Chi into H. That is equal to C times B is what? Mu naught into H by T. H will go off. Your chi is mu naught into C by T. This also you call it as some other constant. Your chi is C by T. This is your Curie's law. Okay, increasing temperature decreases susceptibility. Okay, now if you draw I versus H graph, okay, your I is chi into H, so your chi is anyhow constant. So if you draw a graph for paramagnetic materials, it will be a straight line like this. Okay, and your Curie's law is some constant, Curie constant. This C is called as Curie constant by temperature. Okay, Curie constant. Okay, now here I am stopping the graph at some point. Okay, this is called as saturation point. So what is this saturation point? I will tell you now. Okay, okay, now here the point that I want to explain is, okay, so your chi is C by T. So indirectly this is kind of related to mu relative. Now note, what is the note is, okay, upon decreasing temperature, okay, magnetism increases. Okay, magnetic property increases. Okay, but only up to certain limit. Okay, that Tc is your critical temperature. Okay, so at this state you can say saturation is attained. Okay, saturation is attained at this stage. saturation is attained at this stage. Okay, so saturation is attained at this stage. So beyond this, okay, beyond this no further magnetism will occur. Okay, right? So your Curie's law is valid only up to this critical temperature. Okay, after this Curie's law is invalid. Okay, right? Getting my point? Only up to certain extent it will. Beyond that, how much you decrease also still it is of no use. Okay. Next is your ferromagnetic materials. Okay, next is your ferromagnetic materials. Now your ferromagnetic materials, okay, what is this ferromagnetic materials? I will tell you. Okay, it is developed version of paramagnetic materials. Okay, so now here you don't talk of unpaired electrons, but here also unpaired electrons are there, but you don't explain ferromagnetism because of orbital motion. Okay, you don't explain ferromagnetism because of orbital motion, but you will explain it using the idea of domains. Okay, what is this domain? I will tell you. Okay, so here also atomic dipoles will exist. Okay, excuse me. So here atomic dipoles will exist. Okay, because wherever unpaired electrons are there, okay, automatically you will have unpaired electrons will automatically cause some magnetic moment. That magnetic moment, okay, will automatically cause some dipole moment. Okay, so now what will happen is something interesting part. Okay, atomic dipoles interact with each other. Atomic dipoles interact with each other and forms domains. Okay, so you will see these domains only in ferromagnetic materials. Okay, you will see this in ferromagnetic materials only. Okay, so these regions are called domains. So now what will happen is, if you take a small ferromagnetic material, a small portion, 1 millimeter cube volume, if you take like this, what will happen is, okay, it will consist of domains. So your domains in this region, they will be oriented upwards like this, for example. Okay, in this region they will be oriented like this. Okay, here it will be like this, here it will be like this, like this, like this, like this. In ferromagnetic materials there will be domains. Okay, in paramagnetic materials net is 0. Here also net is 0, but there will be grouping, interaction. Okay, so I cannot keep it downwards, I have to keep it. If net is 0, initially if your material is having net magnetic moment 0, okay, it will be balanced like this. Okay, here top and bottom one will balance opposite, left and right also. In that particular domain, all dipoles are in same direction. Okay, like this is domain like this. So regions will be there. Okay, right, small parts. Now this is without external magnetic field. Okay, without external magnetic field. Now upon application of external magnetic field, what will happen is, okay, upon applying external magnetic field, okay, upon applying external B bar, okay, domain width increases, okay, domain growth occurs or domain width increases, okay, people will usually write domain growth occurs. That means domain size will increase, okay. So now what will happen is, now let us say you are applying magnetic field upwards like this, okay, you are applying B bar this way. Now what will happen is your domain size will increase. So now in previously only 1/4 of area, but now what will happen is area will further increase, okay, right. Watch these videos again and again. First you watch the video once, write down the properties, read them, then you watch the videos once again, you will understand, okay, right. Now this dipoles, they will arrange like this in this region, okay. Here they will try to arrange themselves into some random direction, here like this, okay. In region 1 it is increasing, if you are marking this as 1, into slight deviation, 3 slight deviation, 4 slight deviation, but 1 increased, okay, domain area increases, okay. So my point is your domain area will increase, okay. Now what happens, okay, this material will be strongly attracted, okay, this material will get strongly attracted, okay, this material will get strongly attracted here, okay. So the material will get strongly attracted, okay. So strong attraction will be there, okay, right. Now I will write that properties, okay. So now what are the properties of ferromagnetic materials, I will write, and then in the end I will tabulate everything, don't worry. So your properties of ferromagnetic materials, what are those means, okay. First one, okay, atomic dipoles exist. In paramagnetic materials no domains, but here domains, okay. So domains exist here, okay, right. Next, second, strong attraction, okay. Third, chi is positive, large, chi value is very much greater than 1. So your mu relative is anyhow 1 plus chi, so mu relative also will be very much greater than 1 because chi is greater than 1, okay. Next, in non-uniform magnetic field, okay, so your material moves from weak to strong region, I told you there will be attraction, okay. So attraction occurs here, okay. Next, continuing further, so if you try to draw field lines, more dense field lines from downside, more dense field lines from the top, okay. Mu r is very much greater than 1, okay. If 100 are entering, 1000, some 10,000 will be inside developed, okay. One is because of applied and other is inside, okay. Now next, now important point, seventh one, your seventh property is upon removal of external magnetic field, okay. Upon removal of external magnetic field, okay, two things can happen, okay. material can regain its magnetic property. Okay, material can retain magnetic property. How? Okay, alignment will not, or I can say why all this nonsense. Okay, magnetism remains in some materials, magnetism is lost in some materials. Okay, simple. Why all that nonsense definition? Magnetization disappears or magnetization will remain. Okay, if magnetism remains, they are called as hard ferromagnetic materials. Hard ferromagnetic materials. Okay, if magnetism is lost, they are called as soft ferromagnetic materials. Okay, hard magnetic materials and soft ferromagnetic materials. Okay, so example, alnico. Okay, aluminum, nickel, cobalt. Here the example is soft iron. Okay, now here what will happen? If you want permanent magnet, obviously it should retain its magnetism, right? So that is why in permanent magnets, what will be used means ferromagnetic materials whose magnetism is retained, that will be used. Soft iron, electromagnets or temporary magnets. Okay, because your magnetism is lost, it will be present only as long as you are supplying the magnetic field. So this will be used for temporary magnets. Okay, right? Next, here you will have Curie-Weiss law. Okay, what this Curie-Weiss law will tell you indirectly is, if you take this critical temperature, your ferromagnetic material, if you keep heating too much, okay, it will get converted to paramagnetic materials. Okay, so at this threshold temperature, your susceptibility value is Curie constant by T minus Tc. This is your critical temperature. Okay, so material will lose its ferromagnetic property and becomes paramagnetic material. Okay, so that is your Curie-Weiss law. Okay, so you increase the temperature, Curie temperature. If you increase, what will happen is, okay, your ferro becomes paramagnetic material. Okay, increasing temperature, okay, converts ferro into paramagnetic material. Okay, so these are your basic properties. Okay, now here let me load two images and then explain the differences. So far what I have explained, I will summarize. Now let's continue further. I hope you are able to see the image. Now you have the differences page here. Okay, first one is ferro. Okay, your first column is ferro here, second column is para, third one is dia. Okay, this column is for diamagnetic materials. Okay, so hope you are able to see the properties now. Okay, so look at these properties. Atoms have permanent ferro, I told you they have domains. Para, unpaired electrons are there. In ferro also there are unpaired electrons. Okay, in diamagnetic materials, as they have paired electrons, okay, you don't have anything. Okay, that is your first property. Okay, right? Next, I have done the first one. All right, now next, second property. Substances move from weak to strong region. This also I have explained with the figure. Relative permeability property. Then field lines, you look at this, because susceptibility is more, field lines here susceptibility is slightly less than 1, only while 2 are entering only 4 came, but here when 2 are entering around 8, here 4 are entering only 2 are remaining. Okay, Hope you are able to see these things. Okay, right? Next is okay, susceptibility values and Curie-Weiss law also I have explained. So copy down all these things. Okay, take time, take screenshot of everything, copy down. Okay, so thin rod and all, what are all there, all the theoretical part I have explained. Okay, so your graphs, okay, your graphs, how they are also, it is there. So you can pause the video clip, okay, copy down these things and then take the appropriate answers. Okay, right? So this point is also important. Okay, liquid level rises up in ferro, liquid level rises slightly, here it is more and it is depressed. Okay, in diamagnetic materials liquid level will get depressed. Okay, so take screenshot. Okay, right? Mostly in the description, I don't know I will be able to keep it properly or not, but anyway I have loaded it here, you can finish it off. Okay, you can take down the screenshot, write each point one by one and remember these results. Okay, so there is nothing wrong if you do that. Okay, so for screenshot sake, take screenshot of this part. Okay, hope you have taken only this part alone. Okay, left page screenshot, take it. Next, take screenshot of this part, write down all these points, remember these things, then followed by this part screenshot, this part screenshot, you do it. Okay, so with this all are done. Okay, right? Next, one more image also I'll load. So take screenshot of this part as well. Okay, previous all the properties. Okay, so this area you need to remember, this you remember. Okay, so with this we will stop. So with this we have finished classical magnetism. Only instruments part is left off, that also I will upload soon. But with this your classical magnetism is done. Okay, only hysteresis part is left off, that also will be covered. Okay, next, now continuing further, the last small part I will do it. Okay, that is your magnetic hysteresis. Now this hysteresis will appear a little complicated, but I will tell you what it is, don't worry. Now in some books this graph of I versus H will be given, and in some books, okay, in some books B versus H will be given. Okay, in different books different graph is there for this, but mostly in all the basic books what is given is your B versus H graph is given. Okay, now what is this I versus H, what is this B versus H, I will tell you. This I represents your intensity of magnetization, your B represents your magnetic field. Okay, so it is not actually this I versus H graph is more meaningful, but this B versus H will be given, but this B is indirectly referring to I only. Okay, so now this B we are referring to field inside material. Okay, field inside material. Okay, so that is indirectly related to I only. Okay, so in this magnetic hysteresis graph, okay, in this magnetic hysteresis graph, if you take I versus H graph, okay, I versus H graph. Okay, in this your I versus H graph if you take, okay, right? Now this I versus H graph if you take, okay, if you try to magnetize your B is mu naught into H, I is susceptibility into H, your B is actually mu into H, your mu is once again 1 plus psi into H. So almost same relation, okay. So in I versus psi into H graph, okay, for ferromagnetic material, okay, for ferromagnetic material, you define magnetic hysteresis for ferromagnetic material, okay. For ferro material, if you change I, okay, if you try to increase H, okay, automatically your I will increase. So indirectly you are magnetizing this, okay. So your graph will reach some point like this, okay. So this point A, at this point A, what will happen is saturation is reached, okay. So after the saturation is reached, how much further you increase also, as I have told you, your magnetic material will not increase its magnetic property. Now, okay, this saturation once it is reached, okay, now what is that we are going to do, okay, from O to A, okay, this is O to A, okay, OA, what is that you are doing, you are doing magnetization by increasing H, okay. H means indirectly I told you this is like applied external magnetic field, applied external B bar. Now next what is happening is you are decreasing this H bar, okay. Next what will you do, you are decreasing your H bar. Now when you decrease, okay, what will happen is this magnetization, okay, you remove magnetic field, okay, you will remove or reverse, okay, you will reverse the magnetic field, okay, you will reverse magnetic field later. But first what you will do is you will try to demagnetize, that means you will decrease H bar, okay, you will decrease H to 0, okay. From A to B, what is that you do is you will decrease H to 0. Now if you decrease H to 0, what will happen, if you are decreasing this H to 0, okay, if you are decreasing your H to 0, okay, if you decrease H to 0, what will happen is material will retain, okay, your material I will not be 0 once you magnetize, and after that if you remove the external magnetic field, that material will, what it will do is it will try to store, okay, it will try to store some magnetic property, okay. So that is why this region is called as retentivity or remanence. This is called as retentivity or, okay, remanence, okay, it is called as retentivity or remanence, okay, right. Now next is, okay, if you decrease further, okay, if you decrease further, okay, you will get a region D, okay, right. Now here what is that you are doing is, okay, you will further, okay, till B you have removed B bar, okay. So you are trying to demagnetize, O to A magnetization, this process is like demagnetization. Now when you try to demagnetize, when you make H bar equal to 0, I is not equal to 0, so that is why your curve will not follow the same path, okay, from O to B, okay, from O to B your material will retain some of its magnetic property, okay. Ferromagnetic materials, I told you, they are used in making hard magnets and soft magnets. So after initially, even though dipole moment is 0, after application of magnetic field there will be some net magnetic moment. Now you try to switch off this B, still some magnetic property is restored, okay. Some of the dipoles will try to arrange themselves in the perfect direction, okay. So you decrease H equal to 0, then I is not equal to 0, okay. So that is why from A to B, O to B, this is your retentivity or resonance. Now next is, okay, by reversing h bar, okay, by reversing h bar, okay, by reversing h bar, okay, what we will do is, okay, till here demagnetization, it is like switching off B bar, okay. Now from B to C, this point C if you take, okay, you will try to apply, okay, you will try to apply your reversing h bar, okay, till here from A to B it is decreasing h bar, okay, O to A increasing h bar, okay, you are increasing h bar, that means indirectly you are increasing external magnetic field, okay, O to A increasing h bar, A to B decreasing h bar, okay, from C to D, from O to C, okay, I mean from B to C, okay, B to C you are reversing h bar, okay, you are reversing the dipole orientation indirectly, okay, from B to C you will try to reverse the h bar. So what will happen is, while reversing your B bar will become 0, okay. What is that you are doing? You are forcibly, okay, you are forcibly trying to demagnetize the material, okay. Now, okay, so the value of h which makes B equal to 0 at C, this is called as coercivity, okay. This region is called as coercivity. Coercivity means, okay, I have told you previously also, once again, how much forcibly, how much you have to apply to make the resultant magnetic orientation value to be 0, okay, how much you have to apply to make the resultant this magnetization to 0, okay. So now this process of magnetization and demagnetization is actually called as hysteresis loop, okay. So from C to D also you will once again further demagnetize it, okay. Then after it has reached saturation once again at D, okay, at this point once again saturation will be reached, okay. So at A, if dipoles are oriented towards right like this, at D you are reversing the reversing h bar, so indirectly again it will orient itself and it will cause some magnetic moment. Now what you will do is, okay, here magnetization right, okay, here magnetic dipoles will be arranged right, here magnetic dipoles will be arranged left, okay, magnetic dipoles are arranged to left, okay. Now further you try to magnetize once again, okay, further you try to magnetize, this will become E, okay, further you try to magnetize, this will become E, and from E you will go to F, okay, from E you will go to F, okay. So this, from once again if you try to remagnetize also, it will not become 0 at E, then from after going to F it will once again this becomes 0, and finally at F your magnet will have dipoles arranged towards right once again, okay, right. So now this cycle of processes of magnetization and demagnetization is called as hysteresis loop, okay. So what will this indicate? I will tell you, okay, but let me summarize, okay. I don't have highlighter here, but still, okay, I'll try to keep it simple. So from O to A, okay, O to A, what is that you are doing? Magnetization, okay, increasing H, it is increasing IRB, okay, IRB is increased, okay, increasing H will increase IRB. Next what you are doing is you are decreasing H, okay, you are trying to switch off magnetic field, that will make I not equal to 0, and then from B to C you are reversing, okay, B to C you are reversing, okay, and then, okay, C to D reverse direction, you will apply strong magnetic field, okay, you are reversing, further that will make complete disorientation of dipoles in opposite direction from original direction, and then once again you try to bring back. Now here energy from this graph, what you are supposed to understand is, it is not reversible, it is irreversible process, okay. Your magnetic energy is lost in this okay, because if it is a reversible process, okay, first what is that I have done step by step, okay, I'll try to show you here, okay. So my point is, from O to A, what is that you are doing is, you are trying to, okay, initially dipoles are randomly oriented like this. From O to A graph, okay, what is happening is, you are trying to magnetize it, okay, by increasing H, B is also increasing, okay, O to A, that is what is happening. Now next, from A to B, okay, you are switching off, okay, it is like this, okay. Now what is that you are doing, from this stage in A to B, what is that you are doing is, this magnetic field, this pink color field, if it is there, okay, this B, what is that you are doing is, you are switching it off, okay. B is reduced, okay, reduced to 0 slowly. Now if B is reduced to slowly 0, so what is happening, first random orientation, after applying B, orientation has come, now you are reducing it. Now logically speaking, if it is a reversible process, what will happen, that once again disorientation must happen. Logically speaking, if it is a reversible process, disorientation will happen, but unfortunately it was found out that some weak magnetism is present, okay, after making B 0, okay, weak magnetism is present. This property of retaining is what we are calling it as retentivity or remanence, okay, retentivity or remanence, okay, retentivity or remanence, okay, right. Next, third, okay, third, now what is that you are doing at this stage, your graph is at B, okay. So first you have gone like this from O to A, then you have gone to B. Now at this stage your material is not demagnetized. Now what you are going to do is, you have dipoles oriented like this, okay, at B. Now from B to C, what is that you are doing is, you are applying magnetic field in the reverse direction, okay, indirectly you are trying to demagnetize, okay, right. So now what will happen, okay, so you eventually, okay, your dipoles will, because of application of magnetic field, okay, once again they will orient in random direction like this. At this stage, okay, it reaches C, okay, it reaches C. So this process of, okay, demagnetization, okay, forcibly demagnetization forcibly is what we are calling it as coercivity, okay, right. Next, okay, this value of H, okay, value of H that makes B is 0 is called coercivity, okay. This is what I have been telling you. So that is why on the graph from C to B, this region, okay, OC, this OC region is called as coercivity, OB region is called as retentivity, okay. Retentivity is referring to BRI, okay, and this is referring to H, okay, right. Now next, from C what you are doing is, okay, you are applying this reverse magnetic field further, okay, still you are continuing, okay. If you continue, then what will happen, your graph will, okay, if you continue further, your graph will, okay, if you continue further in random direction, these dipoles, okay, in random direction, these dipoles, they are oriented in some random direction like this, okay. Now here, okay, now this magnetic field, okay, it will orient itself like this. So after net becoming 0 from C to D state, okay, what will happen is, your magnetic dipoles will orient in reverse direction like this. So now once again it has reached magnetic saturation, okay. Now from D to E, E to D to E, once again you will reverse. Okay, once again you will reverse. Okay, reverse magnetic field. So what will happen is like this. Once again you will try to keep all these dipoles from D to E. Once again you will try to demagnetize. If you demagnetize, once again it will not become zero. These dipoles, by the time they come to zero, they will orient like this in random direction. So that is why from D your graph is not going to O directly, but it is going to E. From E to F, once again further you have to do it like this. From D to E, E to F it happens. Okay, now hope you have understood this. Okay, step by step, magnetization, demagnetization. Okay, so you will try to magnetize, demagnetize. Now this process is called as demagnetization. Now important points to understand from curve. Okay, your points to remember from the curve is points to understand from curve. Now what are the points that are supposed to be understood from the curve? I will tell you. Now if you take your I or B versus H graph, okay, if you take your I or B versus H graph, now what will happen is, okay, your B lags behind H. If you look at this graph carefully, you are increasing O to A. Now when you are decreasing, H is becoming 0, but B is not becoming 0. If you look at this region A to B, okay, H is becoming 0, B is not becoming 0. So that is why your B is lagging behind H. Okay, so now what is hysteresis indicating is your hysteresis loop will indicate B lags behind H. This property is only called as hysteresis. Okay, now, okay, this what it will do is, okay, this area signifies, okay, area signifies energy loss. Okay, area of this curve signifies energy loss. Okay, more area will indicate more energy loss. Okay, right? So it is like area is proportional to, okay, area is proportional to thermal energy developed by volume. Okay, area is proportional to thermal energy developed by volume. So more area if you have, obviously more energy is lost. Okay, right? So it is energy lost per unit volume. Okay, right? So this you are supposed to remember and understand. Okay, so soft iron, steel I have told you, hard magnets and soft magnets I have told you. So I don't need to explain much here, but hope you have understood this. This will stop and this chapter is done. Okay, so tan A, tan B positions, moving coil, galvanometer and all separately in measuring instruments. Also, I mean experiments I'll upload separately. In that time I will explain in detail these tan A, tan B positions. Okay, so don't forget, keep watching, keep practicing. That's all for today. Thank you.